Hi guys, I'm with Grappling Hearts. I'm live. Today I'm with Kevin Gallagher. If anyone doesn't know Kevin, you are missing out. Kevin is a multiple time world champion, so that's pretty cool.
that, that gets me a free drink every once in a while.
You know what, Kevin? I'm really glad you said that because that means I get to go into story time.
That's right. I like stories. Tell me some stories.
This story is actually about you.
All right.
Yeah. For anyone watching who, when I made a post announcing that Kevin was coming on, I said Kevin's one of my Florida favorites. So here's why. The first bigger show I got to go with Joe to was down in Florida. And, I'd never been to nothing like that. I was still fairly new to the whole grappling world. And I remember after the show, I thought me and Joe were just going to pack up and head out, whatever. And I'm over with Joe, and he's getting his stuff together, and we get in the car, and Joe's like, "Oh yeah, do you care if we go hang out with some people down by the beach?" I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna be the one to say no." So I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And guys, for anyone who knows me, I'm really like socially awkward and really quiet at first. So I remember we're all sitting at the table, and I'm really just kind of, whatever, in my own old bubble. Joe's mixing and mingling, whatever. And this dude right here is the first one who tried to get me to talk and, started getting me some shots. So I was like, "Hey, I can hang, okay." And, it's really cool having people at that high level interact like that. It blew my mind.
Well, first of all, Brittany, I appreciate that you considered it to be at a high level because I like to compete, but I don't think that I even share the same stage as your hubby does. But it's nice that you appreciate me as a fan. I'm always impressed when people come up to me and say things about my competitions and say things about knowing me because I just feel like I'm just some dude. So to have people that come up and appreciate what I do and who I am is really, really big thing. So
Well,
and
Kevin,
it's
the thing is, it's not just some dude who can go up there with Tex Johnson and go the distance. That's pretty dope.
yeah, it's all right. 11 seconds. 11 more seconds. I beat that freaking that hairy bastard. But I as far as me coming up to talk to you like that, that's probably because I didn't know you were Joe. I was probably coming up to be a creep and hit on you. If that makes you feel any better, but no, there's lots of people out there listening to this story that will be saying that. I don't know, just because she doesn't know him. The poor thing. She didn't realize that she was in the presence of a predator.
Like, oh no, she looks like she's 12 anyways. Like, it just made it so much worse.
Well, cool, man. I know Joe a lot, and I love him to death, man. I think he's just amazing. I can't begin to talk about how cool and how impressed I am with Joe, not just as a competitor, but just who he is. And he's kind of like the boogeyman, and he has been for such a long time, and has contributed so much to the grappling world. So when I knew he was with you, of course, I want to go out of my way to make sure you guys feel welcome in my town. So there you go. It's just the kind of guy I am.
And that's funny to me because, everyone's going to judge me so hardcore for saying this, but when me and Joe first got together, I hadn't been training that long. I had no clue what it meant to win trials or anything. And I remember the guy who we met through found out we went on a date, and he was like, "You realize who that is, right? That dude won trials." And I was like, "So?" He's like, "He's super good." And I remember I told Joe about this months later. I was like, "He can't be that good or he wouldn't be in Kentucky." Like, I was an asshole because I didn't know.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Did you train jiu-jitsu before you met Joe, or did you start training did you train after you started dating him?
Dude, I had only been training like 2 or 3 months before I met Joe, and we actually met at a gym he come to a seminar at, and we just kind of hit it off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny looking back and be like I remember that specific phrase being like, "He can't be that good or he won't be in Kentucky." Like, I was just like so like I was like, this dude's no like he's gonna give me hell for saying that on the air now.
I've seen you guys together, and I've seen you guys out, and I think you guys make a great couple. You guys complete each other very well, and I'm happy to see that you guys are together. So
I appreciate that, Kevin. Let's dive into you. What got you started in jiu-jitsu?
well, man, I I boxed for a long time. I mean, I wrestled in high school. I've been in some form of combat athletics pretty much my entire life since I was a kid. I mean, I've always been an athlete. I used to play soccer in high school, and I used to wrestle. I played football and did all kind of sports, basketball, and wrestling was my best sport in high school. I placed at state when I was a senior, and I just enjoyed the one-on-one, combative nature of wrestling. Kind of took hold of me. And then I was going to wrestle in college, and I never really did it because I was a fuck up. So when I realized I couldn't wrestle anymore, I kind of got involved in boxing because I wanted to be a professional boxer. So right around 20 or so, I started doing a lot of boxing. I had a pretty big amateur boxing career, and was going to go down that route. And during the time of me boxing, like MMA was starting to come out, but it was we're talking like in the 90s. I'm old, baby. So like back in the 90s, MMA was nothing. It was cockfighting. It was my dad who had knew that I wrestled and probably thought that I'd considered that because I was boxing. He used to tell me, he said, Kevin, promise me you'll never do that MMA stuff. Promise me you'll never do that cockfighting stuff. And I said, you know what? In my mind, I said, okay, I won't do that. And then I kind of regretted it later in life. I mean, I actually took a little jujitsu back in 1995. There was like a purple belt that had a school because I remember like Hoist Gracie was dominating everything, and I remember watching Hoist Gracie and thinking to myself, wow, man, this is it. This is the greatest thing out there. I'm going to go learn some jujitsu. And I was training. I broke my ankle, so I had to quit doing jujitsu, and then it kind of fell off the map a little bit. And I wanted to be a boxer anyway, so I kept boxing. And then during the course of my boxing career, I had a couple real shitty concussion problems that popped up. Like I had a few of them that happened during boxing sparring, and then I had one or two that happened outside of the ring. And again, back in them days, there was no such thing as taking care of things. And when you got a concussion, you just went out, got hammered that night, and moved on with your life. So I had gotten to the point where I couldn't box anymore because I was having very serious side effects from the concussion problems. I was losing weeks and weeks at a time. And just thinking to myself that I just can't do this anymore. It's just not worth my life. And I'm a very intelligent, whatever. I'm an intelligent, well-spoken person. And I would like to be able to continue to be that way throughout the course of my life. So I quit boxing and kind of went to a little period in my life. I'm gonna talk a whole lot today, baby, by the way, just so you know. Like I always tell people, whenever I'm on somebody else's podcast, this is my time. I gotta listen to all you motherfuckers tell you stories. This is my time to tell my story. So
I love it though. I love that people engage.
I'll try not to ramble on for too long.
Man, you're fine.
I went through a little period after I started getting the concussions where I really got dark and depressed. Like I really went down a very dark side. And then I started doing some pretty shitty things that I kind of regret in life. And I started doing drugs, selling drugs, and just being a pretty bad, shitty person. And I realized that in order for me to continue to move on with my life, I had to figure out some way to get back into the combat athletics, some way to get back into one thing that was kind of like my stability that kept me whole throughout the course of my life. So I went into an MMA gym. I used to teach boxing at this boxing gym. I just taught, I taught like, fitness boxing. And then they Matt Arroyo opened up a MMA jiu-jitsu school in the gym that I worked at. And I said to myself, you know what, man, like, I'm going to give this MMA thing a shot. I'm going to try. I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. And I did it. I did MMA for probably about 6 months to a year while I was training jiu-jitsu and teaching boxing there, and was ready to make a run to start we used to go up to Kentucky back because Kentucky was before you could even have amateur fights in the state of Florida. They wasn't sanctioned here yet, so you had to go up to Kentucky, and it was basically it was pretty much professional fights. Yeah, it was. I mean, there was no. I think the only thing that was different, you couldn't knee and you get an elbow, but there's no knee pad, no shin guards, no nothing. 3-round fight, 4-round, 3-minute rounds, full ground and pound. So anyway, I was all set to go have my first fight, and then I got another shitty concussion sparring, and I just sat back and I told myself, man, you're 34 years old. It was about 31, 32 at the time. It's the idea of you really being able to make a serious run for anything at this point in your life is kind of slim. Like, why are you really doing this for? So I told Matt, I said, hey, man, I just can't do MMA anymore. But I'm doing jiu-jitsu, so fuck it. I'll just keep doing jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu kind of stuck, and I've been doing it ever since. I'm 43 now. I've been doing jiu-jitsu probably about 12 years.
The good thing about jiu-jitsu, though, is you're a lot less susceptible to concussions. So I'm very glad you made those changes in your life and stuck around. And I'm very glad that you're still competing and getting out there. Man, you are. You're fun to watch.
I appreciate that thing. I appreciate that people appreciate that about me, because I can't figure out, like I tell you, man, I can't tell you how many times I hurt and I regret the fact that I never fought MMA, because I think I would have been a motherfucker at MMA, but that's just the way it goes. I'm a pretty goddamn good boxer too, but that's just life. But like, I appreciate it when people tell me they like to watch me compete, because I can't tell you how much joy and how much love I get out of going out there in a competition, man. And I think Absolutely. It shows, man. Like, it's such a part of me, and it's such a part of what I love to do. Like, I know a lot of people that compete because they want to look cool, they want to do this, they want to do that, and like, there's something about going out on a mat and throwing it on the line and having like one guy and two people there trying to take something from one another. It's I always say, and it's weird, like, I have friends of mine that play music and draw and paint and write, and that's kind of their artistic expression. Like, my artistic expression is going out there and competing on the mat. And I'm glad that people see that, because I love it, and I hope that they love it too.
Absolutely. And you brought that point up, and I feel like you can, if you're out in the audience watching, you can tell the difference between someone who genuinely enjoys it versus somebody who's just there for a payday. The difference is clear as day, especially even after the matches, the behind the scenes stuff. You can just tell.
I hardly ever get paid anyway, so I'm definitely not there for the payday love. I'm lucky if I get a plane ticket out of
it. Plane ticket. I mean, hey, there you go. Whatever works.
It's been fun, man. I've got to do some pretty cool shit competing in jiu-jitsu, man. I can honestly tell everybody I'm a world champion. It's a brown belt, Masters 2 world champion, but goddamn it, I'm a world champion in something.
It still counts.
Hell yeah, man. I've been on Kasai. I've been on Fight to Win a few times. It's a pretty cool shit, man. Fight Pass is my next goal. I want to try to get on one of them Submission Underground cards. I think I might be able to finagle my way into one of them eventually.
Well, I hope it happens for you, dude. On this page, I've really done a lot about, trying to cover people that give back to the community. And I feel like you're one of those people. You've gotten involved in jiu-jitsu times. You're involved, like you and Sonny Parlin got that Old Man Grappling Hour up and going. Do you feel like it's important to be that interactive in your community, or do you just feel like it's something that you should do only if you enjoy?
So I'm going to tell you a little story. And so, first of all, yes, I 100% believe that everyone is capable of achieving great things if they put their mind to it, if they choose to. And it doesn't have to be, I think a lot of times people think, well, who am I? Like, what am I really going to do? What can I really affect? And then the answer is you can affect as much as you try to. And the way I always like to explain this is something I did about 7, 8 years ago. I used to bartend at this high-end restaurant, steak and lobster restaurant, real nice community restaurant. I had all the fucking big deals, the mayor and all these rich people used to come into the place all the time. And because I bartended there, they were my boys, and they were friends with me and shit, right? And I used to have long hair. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of me with that, but I had super long hair, right? And one day I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to cut my hair, but I'm going to donate it to Locks of Love and make a little money out of it. And I said, or you can do a little good with it or whatever. And I said to myself, you know what, man, like, I got enough people that I hang out with, man. How about I get to some people and I call a couple charities up and I say, hey, man, like, why don't you come to the Palm? I got all these rich fucking people. They got nothing but money. They would love to donate to shit like that. We'll figure out a way to throw a party. Maybe we'll raise a little bit of money. I got in touch with a couple different charity organizations. I talked to like the Pediatric Cancer Society, and they said, hey, you know what? We'll do that. And before you know it, just with some connections with some friends of mine. I got a couple friends of mine in the liquor business to donate a little bit of booze. I got a friend of mine that had a band to come out and have his band play. I got one of my my training partners, who's a barber, to cut my hair, and I had people donate things for a silent auction, and a long story short is just because I decided, hey, you know what, I'm gonna fuck around, cut my hair, and throw a little party and put a little bit of time and effort into it. I think we raised about 15 grand for the Pediatric Cancer Society. So the point of the story is this, like, oh, at that point I was nobody. I didn't win no fucking world championships. I was just some dude that bartended at a bar that had a couple friends. But because I decided that I wanted to do a little bit to try to help, one thing leads to another, and then it gets a little bit bigger, Before you know it, a very honorable organization got $15,000 out of it. And I can remember, like, there were kids there that had cancer. Like, they brought cancer kids in, and like their parents were there. And, and I'm just out having fun because to me, it was just a fucking party. You know what I mean? We were making money. But it was just fun. I was having a good time. It's just what I do. I'm a fucking ham. I'm a fucking that's throwing a party, have a good time. But when these the kids were there, and one of the things the kids were doing, they would come up. You had my hair in like little pigtails, and the kids would come up and they'd cut one little piece of hair off, and I'd laugh with them and shit like that. And the parents came up to me afterwards, and you could just see like they were welling up in tears, telling me like, you don't understand like how much this means to us, and just to see my kid come out here and have a little smile on his face, and like that 15 grand could go to help 2 kids get chemotherapy or whatever the hell shit costs, and all this other stuff like that. Like, it resonated with me. So the point I'm trying to make is I have built some kind of sphere of influence in the world. Like, it ain't that big. There's a few people that know me. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm kind of obnoxious, and I'm a pain in the ass, and I'll tell anybody to listen to me that I'm a 3-time world champion, and I'll talk shit, and maybe I'm a little bit egotistically driven by it, but I don't give a fuck. And maybe it's narcissism, but I don't care, because I firmly believe that, it's my responsibility to affect whatever change I possibly can for good in the world through whatever sphere of influence I'm able to develop. And I think that everyone, no matter what their ability to touch people, no matter how many people they touch, can do the same if they just think they can and they try to do it. So,
I 100% agree with you, because I've messaged people about features for the page, or even just coming on here and talking about some stuff that, they've done or ways they've inspired. And they're like, no, man, nobody wants to hear about that. Nobody's going to care. I was like, if one person is inspired by it, you've already made a difference. So it's like, I don't think people understand how just, an inch can actually go a long way. Yeah. So it's really cool hearing that.
I can remember, sorry, I'm talking a lot. I can remember being a kid. I can remember being a kid, and this is what I always think about things. I remember growing up, and there's still to this day moments when I had interactions with people that I admired, and they took the time to tell me some dumb shit, whatever the fuck they told me. Hey, man, Kevin, cool, man, great to meet you. Keep training or keep doing this, be good to your parents or go to school. You'll be fine. And like, I can think back on those moments when they happened and how amazed I was in my innocence to truly be motivated by that. And now I think to kids, like, as kids come up to me, I'm always freaked out by, hey, what's up, kid? Like, I don't know if I should hug you or whatever, but, come on over here. Let's take a picture, And when I'm refereeing matches, kids come up to me and they say things to me, and I take my time and I say hey to him, and I sit down and I'll show them a little move, or I'll do some shit with him. And like, regardless of what I believe about myself and what other people believe about me, that kid, this means the world to them. And it may motivate them to go out there and do bigger and better things in my life. So who the fuck am I to say? Who the fuck is anybody else to say that I don't deserve to do that, that I shouldn't do that I'm being arrogant and obnoxious for doing that? Man, fuck them.
100%.
Sorry, tell me, ask me another question. Don't let me run away with this thing.
You're good, dude. I love it. Like I said, I love when people engage. It makes it a lot easier. And I really like this because, when I first started this, I actually wasn't going to do any interviews. Joe actually taught me into doing it. He was like, no, you need to. You got some good questions. And I was like, nobody wants to listen to me.
I've watched a couple of your shows, baby. And to be honest with you, like, you have your own little way, but you do a good job. You really do. Like, you're prepared, and like, from someone that's done this shit and knows how difficult it is, you do all right. And I'm proud of it.
I appreciate it. But like I told Joe, I really try to set it up to where it's not just me talking. I want them to talk. It's their show, not mine. That's how I feel about it. So talk as much as you want, Kev.
I appreciate you, honey.
Anytime.
So what else you got?
Well, I think the next topic we want to go to is okay, if you're in a competition, what do you think is more dangerous? The newly promoted black belt who is just on a roll versus, I don't want to say the old black belt, but the black belt who's been around longer, has a lot more experience, who maybe they're not as active in the competition scene, but they've definitely got some accomplishments under them. What would you be more weary of?
So that's a difficult question to answer because it resides on a bunch of different approaches and a bunch of different philosophical thought processes. Because I'm a very cerebral competitor. When I'm competing, I don't do a lot of research on opponents, but I also am very aware of them psychologically as I'm competing with them, just based upon what you said in that regard. Like it goes into my competition mindset. So I guess, I would be to say I'm more or less weary of either one or more or less concerned about either one is never true because I am definitely more concerned. I'm definitely concerned about anything anyone has to offer. I don't care who you are. When I get on a mat with you, if you're not concerned about your opponent, you feel like you're just going to completely walk through them, then you fucked up before you even got on the mat. You should never take anything lightly or anything, without any kind of regard. I guess, momentum is always a big thing. So if someone is on top of the world and they're competing super great right now and they're this big upstart, like, that they are in a winning mentality right now. They're winning right now. They're banging things out. They're crushing the world. So they're going to come hard and they're going to come and try to take what they have coming for them. And it's going to be a very hard fought, aggressive match because they are at the top of their game and competing in that mindset, which means they are now in the winning mode. Like they know what they got to do. They've accustomed winning. It's become habitual at this point. But, when you talk about old classic grapplers that have been around forever, like that winning mentality is just a part of who they are now. They even though they might not be on a roll or they might not be hot or they might not be competing well at the moment, like it's the winning ethos and the winning mindset is so ingrained into their will, into their abilities, that it's just natural for them to find ways to win. So the thing I concern myself and worry about when you go against those old school killers that are around forever is just that, like, they're wily old veterans. They just figure out a way to win because they've been there. There's not too many scenarios in competition that they haven't been faced with, that they haven't had to overcome, that they haven't had to figure out a way to get through. And it's like it's kind of like me. And I've been competing for so fucking long in one form or another, like jiu-jitsu, boxing, wrestling, you name it, I've done it. Like I understand how to win. Like you could hit me with a stick, you could beat me with a board. Like I'm never out of it. I always figure out a way to overcome. Okay, cool. This guy's super athletic. He got the beat on me now. I'm in trouble. But wait, he's been doing this wrong or he's doing that wrong. Maybe he's gonna get tired. Maybe I can capitalize on his over anxiety or over aggression. So like it's difficult to say which one I fear more or less. Probably, honestly, to tell you the truth, probably the young buck that's firing all cylinders. But I respect and have concerns about both competitors' approaches.
I think it's a good mindset to have because I've heard people, like you said, lean towards one more the other, and they'll be like, well, if they're not doing anything, then, I'm not really concerned. And it's like, my thing is, if somebody is good enough to get a spot on that mat across from you, then obviously they've got something that you should be aware of. So I love hearing that mindset.
Yeah, 100%. Like I agree with you on that. If people are there, they're there for a goddamn reason. There ain't no
For
easy
sure.
match, especially when you're talking about like bigger events or you're talking about opportunities where there's matchmakers involved. Because that matchmaker ain't putting together a boring fight because he wants to keep his fans involved. So if he's putting somebody out there, that guy can beat you, and there's a reason why he can beat you.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, let's take a break from our serious stuff. I mentioned the game.
Oh, all right. I'm excited about this. You sent me the option for the game, so I'm ready. Let's play a game. I'm here. I'm ready for you.
Bet. Okay. So I picked out most likely to just because I like hearing people's opinions on this.
All right.
And if anything is too much of a call out, which there's only two kind of call outs in here, if anything like that, you don't want to straight up answer.
I'm so over everybody's bullshit right now. I don't give a goddamn. Ask away. I got pull no fucking punches. None of them motherfuckers like me anyway, so fuck them all.
Oh god. Well, here we go on that note. Okay, you're at a tournament and you see two people getting ready to go against each other. One of their opponents has forgotten a rash guard for whatever reason. This competitor gives their opponent a rash guard that they brought as a spare. Who is most likely to do that?
Who is most likely to do that? Man, that's a tough one to say. I can't think of too many people that wouldn't do that. I mean, it's I don't know. It seems like it's so like common sense. I guess I could see some people that would get pissy and moaning about it. Like, I feel like maybe like let me think of like probably your hubby, probably Joe. I don't think Joe would care too much about it, man. Like, it ain't really about the rules at this point. It's about like, hey, man, you want to fight or not? Just go out there, let's do this thing, man. I don't give a shit, man. Sorry you forgot your rash guard. There's no sense in you getting disqualified for dumb. I don't want to win that way. So put your rash guard on. Let's do this thing.
Okay.
Your hubby is just a classic good dude, by the way, too. So, and I think that question is less about being a good person and more about being the guy that just doesn't care. Like, I don't care about
for sure.
There ain't no I'm not want to win by no bullshit.
Absolutely, and there is people out there who would be like, "No, fuck him. He should have brought a rash guard."
Right, or like playing a rule like, "Oh well, you're supposed to have a rash guard." So if your rash guard isn't 3 inches from the elbow, and I'm not gonna lie, like I probably have figured out ways to do those things in the heat of battle just to kind of get a psychological edge because everything fucking works and all is fair in war again in war. You know what I'm talking about? But like you should know the rules. If you don't know the rules, then that's your problem, not mine. But it takes a real competitor, someone that just don't give a shit, that don't want to win that way, to pull that out. So.
Absolutely. So next question is, who is most likely to stop during the middle of the match to argue with the ref?
That's a good one. Stopped in the middle. I mean, that's probably going to be somebody like Ege Agazam. I could see that, like just to argue his point to a reason that it's not, it's something to not to his liking. Let me think of somebody else that would, so like there's two different versions of that too. So we'll take two people that I love and respect that I know personally want to use the two different aspects of why that happened. So you'll take somebody else. We'll use Wagner and we'll take AJ. Coincidentally, those two fucking hate each other. So we can use them as a pretty good example of why, because I think both of them would be equally prone to argue a point for their benefit. I think one would do it for a positive and one would do it for a negative. And I say that I think AJ is prone to get involved in the rules to a negative avenue because he allows that anxiety to bother him to the point to where it gets inside of his head and causes him to not be thinking about his game, but thinking about the bullshit that's happening, the rule violation or whatever thing that his opponent is doing to try to distract him, right? So it works to him in a negative chord. Then you got a guy like Wagner that will point out things like that to his own benefit because he wants the referee to be called to attention so that now the next time it happens, he's aware of what's happening, or he just wants to get inside his opponent's head to try to make his opponent think about things. So there's positives and negatives to all things. It's just a matter of how you use it to your advantage and use it for your gamesmanship. And particularly, I don't.
But I like that you put in that light that, there's a positive way and a negative way to do that and go about it. Oh, God. There went my fan.
You're right. Oh, my God, 911. Somebody help.
Man, you know what? This shed is just, I call it the bear den because, this is where we have our mats at.
Yeah.
And, we got a ghetto set up. So, like one of my ghetto setups just failed. So I'm going to complain to Joe about that later. Anyways, who is most likely to sponsor their opponent's way to the match? And what I mean by that is either A, pay for the flight, B, pay for the hotel, something like that.
It would have to be someone with a large degree of notoriety and money in the field that has probably contributed quite a bit to the game. That's probably still active right now. I mean, guys like Marcelo Garcia come to mind, but he's not really competing as much like now. I'd probably go with maybe Andre Galvao. I just feel like Andre Galvao is the type of competitor at this point that he's proved so much in his game. He doesn't have to prove anymore. And I think it's proof that the Gordon Ryan thing. Gordon says he's afraid. I don't think he's afraid. I just think he doesn't give a shit. I just think I've already done my thing. I don't care now. You know, his big
100%.
his big thing. And again, Gordon can say as much as he wants to. His big thing with Gordon was, hey, you should have beat Felipe Pena. You could have had me in the absolute, but you lost to Felipe Pena, so you don't get to compete against me because that's the way things goes. I don't make the rules, and I only compete once or twice a year because I just don't give a shit. So based upon that, I feel like if there was ever an event that was deeming of Andre Galvao's appearance that he considered to be worthy of his competing, that if someone for whatever reason couldn't make it out there, he has the means, and he's a pretty good dude. Whatever you want to think about him, I've met him before, and he does a lot for his fighters, and he does a lot to get his fighters sponsored and get his fighters taken care of. I could see him paying someone's way to come out and compete if he had to. And believe it or not, to be perfectly honest with you, like, as much as people talk shit about Gordon Ryan, I don't. He ain't my favorite person right now, to be honest with you. I love the kid. I think he's amazing on the mats, but I think he's got some psychological problems you got to deal with. I also believe that he would be willing to do that. I really honestly do. I think it would be more egocentric from his avenue, but I also believe that, like, when it comes to competing, he is every bit the warrior that he claims to be, and the fact that he would say, hey man, look, you can't make it out here, no big deal. I'll pay for you to come out here. I'll forfeit my bank. I'll forfeit my account. I just want to make this happen because I feel like, we should make this happen. So
I can agree with both those choices. I'm a really big fan of both competitors, and I've never met Andre, but I have met Gordon. He's always been nice to us, and like you say, I feel like he's very, like you said, the warrior mindset. I feel like it's not just an internet ploy. He's for real, like, let's make it happen.
Yeah, and you don't get that good. You don't get that good being an internet tough guy.
100%. So, who is most likely to hold on to submission after the tap?
Oh wow, that's a good one. Jeez. I mean, Paul Harris is because it's obvious, But I think Paul Harris is. Well, let me see if I can come up with somebody that's a little more current, someone that's a little more douchey. I mean, Paul Harris is definitely a dick. You know what I mean? He's definitely a guy that goes out there and tries to hurt people, and
he's known for that.
Yeah, and it's weird. I don't know that. I mean, I don't know where it comes from, man. He's like got some kind of like weird, creepy, like sociopathic. Like, some people say he's real simple, is what I've heard. Yeah, some people say he's a little bit like, kind of like, like doesn't really get it. You know what I mean? So he doesn't like, and the idea of harming people is kind of like his autistic kind of response. I've also heard he had a pretty rough, traumatic childhood, so some of that might have some issues with it. But it would have to be someone like, I think anymore, people that hurt people, there's got to be some kind of personal grudge
for sure
involved in it, and like, so maybe a guy like Dylan Dennis might fall up on that list as someone that would have a real personal grudge with someone else to go out and intentionally hurt somebody. But I just don't like. I don't even. Again, it goes back to the idea of high level competitors, and if you're that high level of competitor and you get out there in the mat and you're fighting or competing in that high of a venue, like, there's always a certain degree of bushido and respect towards your opponent, to where you don't want to hurt them physically. Like, you want to make them submit, you want to let them know who won, but I don't wish any ill will against anyone I've competed against. Another one that comes to mind is Ronda Rousey. If she's kind of a little bit nutty. She was never my favorite person. I respect her for the athlete she is, the competitor she is, but she was always kind of just a bad competitor. And honestly, I think a bad figure for female martial arts in general, just the way she acted.
I can get with that. And I like those answers. Next one
I'm a professional.
is
I ain't throwing nobody under the bus. I'm a professionalist,
you
by the way. I can skate the obvious, like
good.
nobody's business. Go ahead, baby. Keep talking.
um, who's most likely to make a flashy entrance?
A flashy entrance. Oh,
Yes,
geez, man, these are fun. I mean, Emil Fisher's up there for sure too. I mean,
for sure.
we're just talking about like right on. I mean, Emil's my boy. I talk to him a lot. I mean, he
I
does
like
it just
Emil.
because he's cool, man. It's different too. Like I don't. Emil is funny because Emil, like the two people that would go in my mind, obviously, are going to be Emil and Gordon Ryan. Like, and again, when you can talk about it on two different principles of why the two use the same foundation is, Emil comes in dressed in his little unicorn outfits and does his little funny things and all his little acts and shit like that because he's trying to psychologically get inside his opponent's head by giving him a feeling of what's the word I'm looking for, of them, you know, being disrespectful. And he doesn't necessarily do it to be disrespectful, but he wants his opponent to kind of feel like, who the fuck is this kid? Why doesn't he respect what we do, what we fight for, what we work for, and coming out in that disrespectful regard? So now his opponent's pissed and comes after him and tries to go harder and ends up making mistakes because that's Emil's game. He likes you to overcommit. He likes you to make his mistakes so whereupon he can capitalize upon them. So everything he does is based on a psychological approach. Where opposed, you got Gordon Ryan, when he comes out with the crown on and he comes out with his cape, there's a place of true belief in himself. He truly believes he is the greatest grappler to ever walk the earth. And I think there's very few people that can debate that with him. I think there's a few people that if you talk about Guy and some of the other things that could be in the conversation with him, Roger Gracie, Marcelo Garcia. I even think Lovato's up in that conversation too. But as of right now, I don't think there's anybody out there that's as good as Gordon.
Absolutely.
Maybe some of the Luca, what's his name, Lucas Barbosa, and some of the other guys, Felipe Pena are in the conversation, eventually. But like Gordon Ryan's undoubtedly the king of nogi grappling right now. So when he comes out with that crown on and the cape, he's coming out to be like, I'm the greatest motherfucker out here, and all you motherfuckers need to come after it, because if you don't, I'm going to get you. And so that it's not necessarily, it's done for a psychological edge because he truly believes that, which now intimidates people or pisses them off, which doesn't matter either way because he doesn't give a shit. And now you're thinking about him wearing that cape and him wearing that crown and not the amazing grappler that he really is.
100%. I think that's all we got for the game, Kevin. I think
Good.
I think the last thing we're going to talk about is let's talk about. I don't think lower belts understand this, and me and you kind of talked about it a little bit. There is levels to black belt, and when I say this, I don't mean the brand new promoted black belt versus the guy's been around for a while. I mean that you got your. Oh my God, I don't get so much help for saying this. You got your local competitors, and then you got your elite level competitors. And what I mean by that too is you got your savages and then you got your hobbyists. So let's talk about that a little bit and your opinions on that.
So I talk about this a lot. This is something that I really try to hold true. So as a black belt, once you achieve your black belt, like I can roll with someone very quickly and realize approximately what belt level they are, whether you're a white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. And that doesn't necessarily change. Like it's a matter of your competency in jiu-jitsu, your ability to think outside the box and string techniques together and the amount of techniques that you know and where you are as far as like going after submissions or holding on to positional jiu-jitsu. Like it doesn't take me very long to distinguish the difference between the two. So that being said, I know purple belts that will smash black belts in competitions. Now, it doesn't mean that they're a black belt. It just means that they're a better competitor, more athletic, more driven, whatever it takes, So when you're a black belt, you're a black belt. And I always say this all the time. Like I don't give a shit what you've done in your life. If you became the worst person on the planet, you're in prison for the rest of your life for fucking murdering babies. Like when you get a black belt, I will always look at you and say, wow, what a horrible piece of shit. It's sad the way his life has gone down the tubes, but he's a black belt. He did what it took to become a black belt. So thinking about the difference between, like you said, there's levels to black belts. We talk about it all the time. Like I have black belts that come in the gym that, I can roll with. I know they're a black belt, but they're hobbyists. They just enjoy to kind of go out and roll, and I can roll with them in a very calm, technical way, and appreciate the love of jiu-jitsu that we both have in a technical manner, and kind of flow through and have a competitive role and maybe even get caught because I'm not using my athletic ability or my desire to win and my drive to get through that. I'm just enjoying the art of jiu-jitsu with that person. Now, if I want to go out there and turn it up and there's something on the line and it's you signed a piece of paper that says that we're competing in front of people, like it's a different world now. Like because now there's the level of being a competitor involved. And there are black belts out there that go out there to compete that, that's what they do. There's a difference between knowing what it's required technically to be considered a black belt in the art of jiu-jitsu. And again, it's more than just technique. It's about, in my mind, to get a black belt isn't just about learning how to do the techniques of jiu-jitsu. You have to overcome demons. I think every black belt I've ever known has changed as a human person, as a person, and overcome their shortcomings psychologically and emotionally in order to achieve that black belt. Like there's been times where I always say this about jiu-jitsu. It's one of the only things in the world that will take the weak and make them strong, and take the ego driven and egotistical and give them humility and make them weak. It gives you what you're missing if you work for it. So every black belt in my mind is a black belt. But if you're talking about like who would win in a one-on-one confrontation when there's something involved, there's 100% levels. And it's not about what you know in jiu-jitsu, it's about how you focus your drive to how you get through your competitions. Because like I know a lot of dudes, like there's some gym warriors that I train with all the time. I got one in my mind that I know right now, Shane Courtney. He's amazing. Shane Courtney is one of the best black belts I've ever trained with. I got another guy, JR. He's fucking amazing. Like if I could ever convince JR to show up to an ADCC trials, he'd win that motherfucker. Like we always laugh about it. We're going to figure out a way to get him on the next submission underground or big, fight to win. And just like, hey, we're having an open mat. Oh shit, by the way, going out there and roll. You're in front of the stage. But I know guys like Shane Courtney in particular that are such beasts on the mat, in the practice mat, in the practice room, but they just don't compete well. There's something about going out on a competition mat that just doesn't resonate with them. And so I don't like to say those things, but it's true. And I don't think there's too many black belts that are hobbyists that aren't competitors that would not agree with that. But I also say this too. I also just think that like if it's just one more level of overcoming your fears that for whatever reason these guys just don't want to do. Maybe they don't have time to dedicate themselves to the training that's necessary to do that. But like, being a great competitor is just a matter of saying, I'm going to go out there and get better as a competitor, spend my time, go out there. You're not afraid to get your ass kicked. You're not afraid to get embarrassed. You're not afraid to put it on the line and have it matter. I wish that all jiu-jitsu people competed, but
It'd be nice.
if they don't, I'm cool with that too. So I don't know. I might talk too much on that, but I think you get the general idea where I was heading with that.
You're good. I appreciate all the insight, and I appreciate the conversation. I think that's all we got for today, Kevin.
Awesome.
I appreciate you coming on. Before we head off, I'm gonna give a shout out to our sponsors, Sweets Apparel, Stretch 9, BTG Coffee. They're awesome. Check them out. Kevin, if you got anyone you want to shout out to.
Yeah, always. I always want to give a shout. First off, if you're not watching the Old Man Grappling Hour, you're missing out. Give us a shout out. We got a good show. Me and Sonny probably been going for about 2 years now, and we've got a good product. We've been doing it for a while, man. check me out on the Jiu-Jitsu Times. I did the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. We get some really good guests on there. And go to nojudgesnew.com, man. Troy Regano is my dear friend, my black belt buddy, my black belt brother. And he is the first person to ever give me a sponsorship way back when, before I was cool, before I knew where I was. So nojudgesneeded.com. Go use OMGH to get 25% off of your first order.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate it. And we are going to sign off on that note. Boom.